Hi guys, Sammy here from Clove, and today we're here to discuss one of the biggest releases of the year. Samsung's Galaxy Unpacked event is right around the corner, and we've kept our eyes and ears peeled to every semblance of information or leak that we could get our hands on. Now, these are all based on supposed leaks, so they should be taken with a slight pinch of salt, but we're pretty confident of what we might see. Now, the S10 and its siblings mark the 10-year anniversary of when the first Galaxy S flagship was released, and so you can expect a much more significant upgrade than the S9 offered to the S8. Indeed, Samsung's mobile chief, DJ Ko, hinted that the upcoming S10 range will feature very significant design changes and amazing new colours, many of which we might expect to see on the S10e or S10 Lite, but more on that later. So first, let's have a look at the most premium of the S10 models, the S10 Plus. The 6.44-inch Super AMOLED display is what separates the S10 Plus from the rest at first glance, and it's actually bigger than the AMOLED panel of the Note 9, which is considered by many as more of a phablet than a smartphone. Inside that gigantic display, the S10 Plus will come fitted with the long-rumoured 3D sonic fingerprint sensor from Qualcomm. Instead of comparing your fingerprint against a 2D pattern that's stored, as other devices do, it works by creating a 3D mould of the fingertip by bouncing sound waves off the skin through the display. Now, Qualcomm say this technology is capable of capturing an outstanding amount of detail, down to individual ridges and pores within your finger. The glass back will certainly come in black, white and green, which we really like, and overall measure in at 157.5 x 75 x 7.8mm, rising to 9mm at the camera bump. Now, after the success that Huawei had with the Mate 20 range, we weren't at all surprised to discover that the S10 Plus will come with a triple rear camera setup, consisting of 12 megapixel, 16 megapixel and 13 megapixel lenses. The standard 12 megapixel lens has the same variable aperture mechanism that won praise on the S9 last year, switching between f1.5 and f2.4 depending on the light available. The second lens is an ultra-wide angle lens with an f1.9 aperture and a 123-degree field of view. The last 13 megapixel telephoto lens has OIS and helps with sensing depth for those bokeh style and portrait shots. If that's not enough, then super slow-mo video capabilities have also been improved, and will now be able to capture 0.4 to 0.8 seconds of slow 960 frames per second video, in comparison to the 0.2 to 0.4 seconds that the S9 and Note 9 are capable of. Increasing screen real estate, as you may have spotted so far, the S10 range will house its front shooters within a small hole punch in the AMOLED display, rather than in thin bezels, as Samsung usually do, or a notch. In the case of the S10 Plus, this consists of two front-facing cameras that will likely enable you to take portrait snaps with a blur behind the subject, as well as almost certainly improving face unlock. The S10 Plus will house a whopping 4000 mAh battery, and like the Mate 20 Pro, will be reverse wireless charging enabled, charging other devices that are placed on its back. The Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chipset, coupled with 8GB of RAM, will also make light work of demanding tasks. FCC filings also reveal plans to include Wi-Fi 6 support. Moving on, as expected, the standard S10 model is slightly smaller and comes fitted with a 6.1-inch curved Super AMOLED display with a rumoured 1440 by 3040 pixel resolution that's the same as the S10 Plus, a 19:9 aspect ratio, and a whopping pixel density of over 600 ppi. Now, the camera setup to the rear is expected to be very similar to that of the premium S10 Plus, consisting of a 12 megapixel standard lens with variable aperture, a 16 megapixel ultra-wide angle lens, and a 13 megapixel telephoto lens with great depth sensing abilities. New software features are also inevitable and include bright night mode for better low-light photography and portrait lighting. Dropping slightly from the S10 Plus, the standard S10 model will house a 3500 mAh battery that's still more than respectable for a flagship device, and it's expected to come in 128 and 256GB variants, both of which can be expanded via a micro SD. Last but no means least, the little brother of the group is expected to be the S10e or the S10 Lite, and despite being Samsung's so-called budget offering, still offers a very impressive set of specs. The screen is the most noticeable difference at 5.8 inches and is actually a flat Super AMOLED display, which might actually be a bonus for those that haven't really taken to those curved edges. Now, the S10e will not come with that in-display fingerprint scanner that's on the S10 and S10 Plus, but instead it's rumoured that the sensor will actually be in a larger power button to the side. To the rear, only 2 cameras will feature on the S10e, as Samsung have cut costs by doing rid of the 13 megapixel telephoto lens, keeping the 12 megapixel main sensor with variable aperture and 16 megapixel ultra-wide angle lens. There will also be a single lens on the front. Again, the device will run Qualcomm's flagship Snapdragon 855 processor, which is this time coupled with 4GB of RAM, 2GB less than the other devices. However, this should be more than enough to handle most games and heavy tasks. The battery is also slightly smaller at 3100 mAh and will not support reverse wireless charging. The device will also max out at 128 gigs of internal memory, whilst others will be upgradable to at least 256. A number of alternative colour options, including canary yellow, have also been heavily rumoured. So all of Samsung's new devices will come with this redesigned custom One UI, which looks sleek and easy to use. The new system is more comfortable for one-handed use, which is particularly beneficial if you're looking at the 6.44-inch S10 Plus, effectively splitting the display into 2 halves. The bottom half houses all of the interactive controls, so they're closer to the thumb, whilst the viewing area in the top half shows a search box or large header text. Other notable inclusions are system-wide night mode option, focus blocks, which are large clean interactive icons, as well as reorganised and regrouped options in the settings app. So when it comes to pricing, Samsung have steadily increased the price of their flagship Galaxy S series each year, and so we expect this year to be no different at all. So this is what we might expect to see for each device, with devices hitting stores as soon as the beginning of March. Now, as always, the Samsung Galaxy S10 range will be available from Clove Technology, so head to our website to get that all-important information and to set up a notification. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again soon.